What's going on, guys? This is BunnyMuffins. I finally have the meta snapshot for 10.3. I was on vacation, but I am back now, so let's just dig right into it. The way you get to this page is you just go to bunnymuffins.lol/meta, and it'll forward you to the latest meta snapshot post. Currently, we're in 10.3, and for items, carousel, spatula got taken off, so we removed that, and rod is still the best item. It's great for snowballing early game, and it builds items for every composition. For example, rangers are the best composition right now, and you could either throw in a locket or like a rage blade. Doesn't really matter. You could even put in like Morello for Singe as well. Super flexible item. It's still the best one. Then obviously you want good ranger items. Tyr and bow are great for that as well. So not much else to say there. For the item quadrants, I moved things around a little bit. I think Infinity Edge was lowered a little bit, and Rage Blade was moved up a bit. I also moved around the spatula items, just based on what's played in the meta right now. But overall, not too much change there. Now let's move on into the compositions. I know that's why you guys are all here. It's a little bit of a weird patch right now. I don't think there are too many playable compositions, and the ones that are playable, they're pretty high skill cap apart from Rangers, but let's get right into them. I think the better player wins a lot more on this patch, and but yeah, we start with the Rangers, which are the exception to this rule. They're not too difficult to play. You just need static shivs, rage blade, and hitting 2 stars on your carries. You could really use any Ranger, though the best one obviously is Ash, because with Taric you got great crystal synergy. With the poison, you have very strong late game because you delay all the critical frontline ultimates. So just very solid composition. And the one change from last patch is that you want rage blades now to cap out your builds. You could use QSS as well. So 2 static shiv QSS, 2 static shiv rage blade. Doesn't really matter. Just depends on what items you're getting later in the game. Then you want to itemize a second carry. It's not critical to do the critical strike build Twitch anymore. You could just throw more static shivs, more rage blades on him. You could throw it on Kindred, Varus, Ezreal. Doesn't really matter. Just not Vayne. Use Vayne as a transition unit and replace her late game. Now going on into like some of the more high skill cap builds. We do have a Forcible build, so I listed that out here. I need to work on the colors. I'm not really sure how to highlight it quite yet, but this is the Inferno Shadow or 6 Inferno build. Very difficult build because there's a lot of different directions you can go into, as I discussed before. One change I made from last patch is that I added the Locket Malzahar build. It doesn't have to go on Malzahar. You could put it on Kindred. You could put it on pretty much any unit that you're using to transition. Because again, all these champions, the only ones you're really keeping is Kindred. Because you could go either 3 Inferno, 3 Shadow, like we have here. You could go 6 Inferno, which is the version I like the most. And then you could put like Lockets on Zyra, for example, and then sell her later if you want to run different units later in the game because she's a 1 cost. But yeah, Locket very strong because you don't have too much frontline until you hit a Mumu, and that sometimes takes a while. You could use like Leona and Karma for Lunars and then 2 Wardens in the front, but sometimes it's not really optimal. They're kind of just here to fill out the composition, to put out 8 people there, but 7 people there. But again, this composition is very flexible, so the only main component is Kindred, and then just add Infernos and Shadows, and then units to counter the lobby, whether it be Wardens, Lunars, or Mystics. Moving on to the A tiers, we added Summoner Assassins. I should have added these guys a while ago, but it's a really difficult composition to list out because the only core units are Azir and Kha'Zix, and then you just play pretty much anything. You could go Kha'Zix carry, you could go Zed carry, you could go Azir carry. It really just depends on what items you're getting and what champions you're getting, which again makes this composition really hard to play, but pretty rewarding when you pull it off. Sometimes you don't even run 3 summoners, sometimes you don't even run 3 assassins, sometimes you go Zed, 2-star, and then 7 support units as well. It's like highly dependent on what your lobby is and what draws you're getting. So it's like if you want to get better at the game, I recommend playing this composition, just because you have to learn how to play the actual game rather than just spamming certain comps and hoping that they work. But again, you're in the short term you might suffer, but in the long term you'll be a much better player if you try playing this composition. Going into another flexible build, so again, like Inferno Shadows, very flexible. some Sins, very flexible, and then Ocean Mages, very flexible as well. Ocean Mages, you pretty much just play Nautilus, Thresh, and then anything that you get, whether it be like Lux, Rand carry, Vhagar carry. You could even just go like full tanks with like a couple legendary unit carries, such as Nami, if you're going Mystics. A lot of different directions you could go into. It's really hard to explain how to play these compositions, but this is what the top 10 players are playing right now. But ideally, you have Lux carry, but you don't always hit her. And then you have the Oceans as like a base. So obviously, Brand's the easiest carry to get, so I list him out here because you'll more often be able to complete this build if you just want to copy a build from this guide. But yeah, all the Ocean synergies, they give you a lot of mana regen for your primary carry. So in this case, it's Brand, and then he just ults multiple times, and then you pray that you win. But yeah, decent comp overall. But again, it's the same as like all these other compositions. It's just like really hard to play right now, and you're gonna have to adapt to every lobby. The next build that we have is something that's you can't really go every game, but if you get a good start for it, go ahead and try it. It's the Hyperworld Predator build. You want to go for this if you have around 4 or 5 Cogmos by the time you're at Krugs with like 30 to 40 gold at least. And if you don't really know how to hyperroll, you can check out my hyperroll guide as well. This build revolves around Luden's Echo, and they actually buffed this composition quite a bit in the past patch because now Kog'Maw no longer hits Zephyr units, so Zephyr became infinitely better on Predators, and Kog'Maw became a lot better as well, because you could just kill half their team before the people get out of Zephyr. So it's really fun build to try if you like having really strong mid games and like potential first place with a hyperroll build. Now we go into like the playable compositions. This is the B tier. It's like you could play these, but you're not gunning for them every game. The first one I gotta start off with is Blademasters. They got a lot of buffs this patch. Wind got buffed, Yasuo got buffed, and one build that came out that I was surprised with, frankly, is the Yasuo carry build. Hand of Justice is the best item on him, and then I like having a Guardian Angel. You could put like full damage such as Guardian Angel as well, or sorry, such as Infinity Edge as well, but Hand of Justice works really well with him because he strikes multiple times, so for his ultimate, he does like a bunch of auto attacks, so if you ever put him on the front line with a Hand of Justice, he tanks a few shots, then he gets his ults off, and then heals back up if you get the healing proc, and if you get the damage proc, you kill their carry right away. So it's like a very rewarding item for Yasuo, and that's why it's built like this. And then Sivir, she isn't really the carry in Blademasters anymore since you have Yasuo carry, so throwing a red buff on her or like a Hush is a really good idea. And lastly, as always, you have like a bunch of flex spots. You don't have to go 4 Mystics. You could go like 2 Wardens as well. Or you could take out Leona because you don't really need Karma in this build either. So you could take out Lunars to add in different Mystics or different Wardens depending on your lobby. But Leona and Karma are pretty easy to get because they're only 1 and 3 costs, so I leave them in there here, but you definitely do want to transition to legendaries later in the game, such as Nami instead of Karma, or like Amumu Malphite Taric instead of Leona. Moving into one of my more preferred compositions, I don't know why people underrate Berserkers so much. I think they're still pretty decent. I don't see too many people playing them, but since no one's playing them, that makes them even stronger, you know? Because you're so reliant on Olaf that if no one else is playing him, it's going to be pretty easy to get Olaf. And I think they're still a decent build, but I'm listing them at B tier right now because no one in high elo meaning like top 100 or top 10 challenger, are really playing Berserkers that much compared to before. But the build I favor is the Locket build. So you spam more Lockets than what I have on screen right now. You want like 2 Lockets and then maybe like a Zeke's Herald to buff your entire team in order to snowball the mid and early game, and then you're not as dependent on Olaf 2-star or even getting great Olaf items when you do that. So that's the build I prefer. I could make a guide on it later, depending on how much interest there is, but I do have 2 VOD reviews out for one with the communist berserker build and one with like a stacking Olaf build. But both are pretty good. They're just not in fashion right now, but I still think berserkers are a very playable composition. Now we move on to the C tier. You kind of want to avoid these comps. So we have all three versions of lights in C tier right now. I'm just going to leave them there for now. I think people haven't figured out how to properly itemize Lucian yet. And once that happens, maybe we'll see them more in this next week. And lastly, we have the 6 Assassin 4 Desert build. 6 Assassin never picked up, and so I don't even know why Riot decided to nerf them this patch, but yeah, you don't really want to go for it unless the build is handed to you. So for example, let's say the build is handed to you and you get like a Z2 and a Kha'Zix 2 for free. You might as well just go like a Summoner Sin build instead of going for 6 Assassins. But yeah, that's it for the compositions this patch. Again, really high skill cap is needed for this patch apart from Rangers. So if you want to go Shadow, Summoner Sins, and Ocean Mages, you could really have like a lot of skill expression with them because you'll be able to counter your lobbies and adapt to different builds depending on what your draws are. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll be updating this on Friday, and hopefully I'll resume my stream on Friday as well on February 14th. So I'll see you guys there. If you guys haven't already, make sure to follow me on twitch.tv/BunnyMuffinsLOL to catch that stream. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well, or join my Discord to chat with other viewers as well. But yeah, that's it for this week. I'll catch you guys on my stream this Friday.